As reported, Ukrainian forces destroyed a thermobaric munitions depot in Russian-occupied territory of Donetsk Oblast. The General Staff of Ukraine described the target as a thermobaric ammunition storage facility of the Russian invaders. Russia uses of thermobaric weapons in Ukraine. Now, Ukrainian army's destruction of Russian thermobaric munitions depot changes the military situation in Donetsk. Thermobaric munitions are highly destructive weapons that create powerful blast waves and intense heat. They use atmospheric oxygen to fuel their explosion, making them significantly more powerful. The effects of thermobaric bombs are compounded in enclosed spaces, making them highly effective in buildings. Russia's unanticipated struggle with urban warfare thus far might explain its reported usage. Russia's largest thermobaric weapons test in 2007 had a yield of 44 tons, while the US B-61 tactical nuclear weapons, which are deployed in Europe at their lowest yield, are 300 tons. For greater comparison, US strategic nuclear weapons have varying yields from around 50,000 tons to 1.2 megatons. Thermobaric bombs are not in the same class by any means. The name thermobaric indicative of what these weapons deliver. Thermos, from the Greek word meaning heat, and baros, meaning pressure. They are often likened to an incendiary munition, which is designed to ignite a fire that burns for some time, when in fact thermobarics are best thought of as a modified conventional explosive weapon. This means that they create a wave of overpressure and heat, followed by negative pressure. The key differentiator between a thermobaric weapon and a conventional high explosive is the length of time that each of these effects last. A high explosive might last just milliseconds with a much higher peak force than a thermobaric, which can last tens of milliseconds with a lower but still significant peak force. Posting on the Telegram social media channel, Ukraine's General Staff of the Armed Forces said the Ukrainian Defense Forces destroyed a thermobaric ammunition storage facility of the Russian invaders in the temporarily occupied territory of the Donetsk region in the Selidov district. It added that Ukraine had also struck 3 other Russian targets, including the Ilsky oil refinery in Russia's Krasnodar Krai, the second attack on the facility in February. A previous strike on February the 17th sparked a fire at the refinery, which houses 6 processing units with an annual capacity of 6.6 million tons. The Kiev Independent cited a source as saying, Ukraine views Russian oil infrastructure as a legitimate military target, arguing that revenues from fossil fuel exports finance Moscow's war effort. Ukrainian forces have repeatedly used long-range drones to strike Russian refineries. Since early 2025, Ukraine has carried out multiple bombing raids on oil refineries and other energy facilities deep within Russia. The strikes are part of a broader air campaign aimed at disrupting Russian military logistics and defense manufacturing.
A funeral service for a U.S. Marine Corps veteran who died while serving alongside Ukrainian forces was held in central Kyiv on Friday, where family and friends said the 21-year-old had given his life fighting for freedom. According to Associated Press, Ethan Hertwick, a California native, traveled to Ukraine soon after Russia launched its full-scale invasion of the country in February 2022, initially assisting some of the millions of women and children who were fleeing the country in the earliest days of the war. After returning to the United States for several months, he went back to Ukraine to receive a combat medical license and trained Ukrainian troops before himself joining a combat unit as a medic. At the funeral service for Hertwick on Kyiv's Maidan Square on Friday, his mother told those gathered that her son, who was killed while on duty as a combat medic in December 2023 in the eastern industrial region known as Donbass, had died in a fight for freedom. Leslie, Hertwick said on Friday that her son was stubborn, he was strong, he was serious. But he loved and had a soft heart. We know that we will miss him. But we will see you in heaven, Ethan, as you're with my mom and all those who've gone before us, she said. Slava Ukraine. In December 2023, the 21-year-old was guarding a military bunker in Donbass when Russian forces overtook his unit's position. One member of his unit was wounded, and while attempting to drag him back to the safety of the bunker, Hertweg himself was hit. He died around an hour later. Hertweg's family and fellow servicemen worked for months to retrieve his remains, but he remained missing in action. Then, in December, his body was part of a swap between the Ukrainian and Russian militaries, and he was identified by his DNA. J. Andrus, 25, another U.S. Marine veteran who had trained in Ukraine with Hertweg, said his friend genuinely really wanted to help people.
Birds seem so inadequate at a time like this. But we must try to honor this.
You returned to the States after a few weeks. We spent the year talking about going back and making a veteran and as a Ukrainian veteran and his sacrifice for Ukraine. I'll read a brief background of him.
He was stubborn, he was strong, he was serious, but he loved and had a soft heart. And for that, we are thankful. We know that we will see him again in heaven. And for that, that gives me and my family consolation, and that we know that we will miss him, but we will see you in heaven, Ethan, as you're with my mom and all those who've gone before us. Slava Ukraini.
Символ держави, який вірно та до кінця служив ваш син.
For your son's death and he served to the last moment of his life. We give this to that. My people have been the chandeliers, the winding and downing the
I think he just wanted to help people, just like he had a genuine, like really truthful heart. So I had this conversation with him when we were training in the 59th, and you know, a lot of people come for fighting or for money and stuff like that, but like he genuinely really wanted to help people. Because when he first came, I think he did like help with like medical and training and stuff like that. He didn't go fighting straight away, so it kind of like showed like he actually cared about, you know, the effort here.